Hello everyone and welcome back to this space. On this channel, I teach you how to crochet various stitches in different forms and styles. In today's video, we're going to be learning how to walk in the round. So grab your crochet hook and your yarn and let's begin. The first thing you need to know is that there are two ways to crochet in the round, and there are also two ways to begin crocheting in the round. So the first method is called the chain ring, and it's very simple. You make a couple of chains, say 4 or 5 chains, and then you join it to create a ring, and then you begin crocheting into that ring to walk in the round. And the second method is something that is called the magic ring or the magic circle. But first I'm going to demonstrate the chain ring. So you start by making a slip knot. It's quite simple, and I demonstrated this in my 5 basic stitches video. I'll have that linked in the cards if you haven't seen it. So you create a loop like this, and then you insert your hand, and then you pull up the yarn, and then you've created a knot. You insert your hook into that loop you've created, and you adjust it to fit the size of your hook, and then you've just made a slip knot. And once you have this, you can begin to make chains. So I'm going to chain a couple of chains here to begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now to create the ring, you insert your hook into that first chain, and then you create a slip knot. So now we've just created a ring, and then you make your stitches into that ring, and that's your first method of how to begin walking in the round. So now I'm going to unravel this, and then I'm going to demonstrate how to walk the magic ring or the magic circle. So the way you start the magic ring is very similar to how you make a slip knot. Think of it like an incomplete slip knot. So the exact same way you begin the slip knot, where you make a loop, is how you begin the magic ring. So just pinch down on that crisscross with your thumb and your middle finger, okay? And then we're going to go into that loop that we've created. That loop basically is the magic ring. It's just that we haven't secured it yet. It's the magic circle rather. We haven't secured it yet. So I'm going to demonstrate that one more time. Create a loop, pinch it down at the crisscross. Now into that loop, instead of inserting your fingers to grab the yarn, we are going to grab our hook and then insert that hook into that loop and then grab onto the working yarn. Okay, we're about to secure it. Now take some of the yarn again and make one chain. Now just like this, you've made a magic ring or a magic circle. Okay, your magic circle is secure like this. You can begin working your stitches into it. So I'm working single crochets here, and I've made my one chain, which is for height. I can begin working my single crochets. So insert your hook, pull up the yarn, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops on the hook, and then we have our first single crochet. And I'm going to repeat that: 2 single crochets, 3 single crochets, 4 single crochets, 5 single crochets, 6 single crochets, and 7 single crochets. One more, 8 single crochets. Okay, so now I'm going to adjust this magic ring so that it tightens up. So grab onto that tail end. You just pull on it, and then it completely tightens your magic ring. Okay, so the major difference between the chain ring and the magic ring is that the magic ring is adjustable. Okay, and that's why it's called a magic ring, because you can adjust it magically. So now I'm going to go into my first single crochet, the top of my first single crochet, and I'm going to make a slip stitch to join the round. Okay, so I'm making a complete round, and we're going to join to complete that round. So try to identify your first stitch, insert your hook into that stitch, and then pull the yarn through, and then pull it through the loop on the hook, and then you've just created a slip stitch to join the round. To begin the second round, we're going to make one chain and then insert the hook into that same stitch where we just made the slip stitch into, which is our first stitch. We're going to insert the hook and make one single crochet. I'm going to repeat that by inserting the hook into the same stitch and make a second single crochet. Now we're going to repeat this for the rest of the stitches of this round. That is, we're making 2 single crochets into all the stitches. And this is how we begin to form a flat circle. So this is my second stitch. That's 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Okay, so at the end of my round, I will slip stitch into my very first single crochet. If you cannot identify your stitches, it would be nice to use a stitch marker. So once you make your first stitch of the round, put a stitch marker there to mark it, so that when you work back, you would be able to identify your stitches. Okay, so I'm back here, and there's one way I use to identify my stitches, and that method is to count the third V. So you can see one tiny V here. That V, that first V, is not a stitch. It looks like a stitch, but it is actually the slip stitch of the previous round. Okay, so you don't want to work into that. If you mistakenly work into that, you'll have increased your stitch count for this round. So you skip that one, and then you count the second V. The V that is next to it, that second V, is the chain one that we made when we were about to begin the round. Okay, so that's not the stitch. So the next V, which is the third V, is your very first single crochet. So insert your hook into that and pull up the yarn, and then pull the yarn through, and then you just made a slip knot. And if you see another V has been created, it's a tiny V, which is from the slip knot you made. It's not a real stitch. Okay, so now to work the third round, we make one chain, and then we're going to work one single crochet into that first stitch. Okay, and the pattern for the third round is quite different from the first and the second round. So one single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. So 1 and 2. Okay, now into the next stitch we'll make 1 single crochet, and then the next one we're going to make 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. 1 single crochet into the next, and then 2 single crochets into the next. So if you notice now, I've been alternating between 1 and 2 single crochets. Okay, so a regular single crochet and an increase, and that's the pattern for this round. We're going to repeat that until the end of the round. Okay, and this is how we gradually increase to work a flat circle. So I'm at the end of my third round now, and I've just made my slip stitch to complete the round. And now I'm going to make one chain to begin the fourth round. So insert your hook and make 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Make 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and make 2 single crochets into the third stitch. And then we're going to repeat this from the beginning, 1 1 2. So 1 single crochet into the next, 1 single crochet into the next, and then 2 single crochets into the next. One more time, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and now 2 single crochets. 1 and 2 to the same stitch. Okay, so this is the pattern repeat for this fourth round, and then as you continue to work this, you'll see how your circle will begin to widen. Okay, and this method is how you would begin any project that you're working in around, that you have to make a couple of increases, like amigurumis or bucket hats, or even a coaster. Okay, and you can see that we have a flat circle. So this method that I've just shown you is the first method for working in the round. Remember, I said that there are 2 methods to work in the round, and there are also 2 methods to begin working in the round. Okay, so I showed you how to make the chain ring, and I showed you how to make the magic ring. So this method is how you make your joined round. This method I showed you how to work in the round is called joined rounds. And then you will notice that there's a seam from the center. There's usually like a line from the center, where all those places that we're making the slip stitches is where you will notice that there's a line there, because this we join at the end of every round. Now the second method is called a seamless circle. There are no seams there because it is worked in spirals. Okay, I did not demonstrate how to work that in this video, but I have a very detailed PDF guide that you can download, and it's free. You can download, and it contains all the information from my previous 3 videos, and it's everything that a beginner needs to start crocheting. So you'll learn 5 basic crochet stitches, how to increase with those stitches, how to decrease with those stitches, and also how to work in the round. Also, this method of working in the round applies to any other stitch. So single crochet, half double crochet, and treble crochet. I hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.